So we know that in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form, we need to know both the slope and the y-intercept. Our slope goes in the first box, that's always our coefficient of x, and our y-intercept, we're actually looking for the b value, and we want to remember that the y-intercept was in the form 0, b. The problems that we encountered yesterday either told us both of these pieces of information, or they didn't tell us the slope, but one of the points always had an x-coordinate of 0. Today we're going to investigate how to solve these problems when we don't have an x-coordinate of 0. Let's just do a quick review example. So here I know that my slope is -2, so that's going to go into my first box. And since my ordered pair is 0, 5, that means my b value is 5. And the reason for that is because if I were to graph this point, it would land directly on the y-axis. In review example 2, since I don't know the slope, but I have 2 points, I'm going to start by finding my slope using the subtraction fraction. I'm going to do y2, which is 17, minus y1, which is 5, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 0. This would give me 12 over 4 for a slope of 3, and now I can fill my slope box with 3. I also notice that one of my points has an x-coordinate of 0, which means my b value, in this case, would be 5. So next we're going to look at Desmos to see how we can find the y-intercept if we know the slope and a point. And then we'll come back and do it algebraically. So the point that I have is -3, 1, and the slope that I have is 2. So I'm going to make this picture a little bit bigger, and I'm going to graph my point of -3, 1 by going over 3 and up 1. Now since I know my slope is 2, remember slope tells me a rise and a run. So that means that from this point what I can do is I can rise 2 and run 1. Now remember, my missing piece of information is my y-intercept, so I actually want to keep going until I get the y-intercept, and now I can see that that's this point right here, and so my b value is 7. And so now I know the slope, which I knew all along, of 2, and my y-intercept of 7, which would create an equation of y equals 2x plus 7. So now let's investigate how to find that algebraically if we didn't have Desmos. So if I look back at my information again, I have my slope, which is my m, and I've got a point on my line, which is an x and a y. The information that's stopping me from having a complete equation is my b value. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my formula, y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to replace the information that I do know. So since I know my slope is 2, that can take the place of m. -3 is one of the x values of the line, and 1 is one of my y values of the line. My unknown is still my b, so that's still going to be a variable. Now I'm going to solve this for b, just like I would solve any normal equation. So 2 times -3 is -6, so 1 equals -6 plus b. Then I would add 6 to both sides, which means my b value would be 7. But it's important to remember to write the completed equation. Make sure you fill those boxes. So that means my completed equation would be y equals 2x plus 7. For example 2, I'm again going to write my y equals mx plus b equation, and I'm going to fill in the information that I know. My slope is -4, so that can take the place of m. My x value is -1, and my y value is 3. My unknown value is b. So now to solve for b, I would do -4 times -1, which is +4. And then to get b by itself, I would subtract 1 from both sides for a b value of -1. Remember not to stop here. You want to make sure you fill the boxes. Y equals -4x minus 1. Pause the video, try examples 3, 4, and 5. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. So for example 3, I replaced m with 2, x with 6, and y with 3. 2 times 6 was 12, and then to get b by itself, I subtracted 12 from both sides for a y-intercept of -9, which means my equation is y equals 2x minus 9. For example 4, I replaced m with -2, x with 6, y with 3. -2 times 6 was -12, which means to isolate b, I added 12 to both sides for a b value of 15 for an equation of y equals -2x plus 15. Example 5 might look daunting with the slope of 1/2, x value of 4, and a y value of 3. The good news is half of 4 was 2, so that fraction went away, and then I subtracted 2 from both sides to get a b value of 1 for an equation of y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Again, make sure when you're done, you're completing the equation. You're not just bringing grandma the ingredients to make an apple pie, you're making the pie for her.